Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Man, I always love that intro until I see Jim's face.
I mean, you don't even give any credits or anything yet, and you're already in on me.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, everyone? We're back live from the Andrew Downs AKC Marketing Studio, sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company and Green Beret Realty. Had to get that in before I made fun of Jim more.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
I like that we start the podcast without even mentioning our sponsors and go right into hammering Jim.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
It's kind of
seems
like
logical,
living the
right?
dream.
Seems
living
logical. The dream. Yeah. Thanks.
For sure.
It's just
Appreciate
so
it, guys.
Oh, go Hawks.
No, Ben, don't start that with me.
Can't. Man, I wish I'd have had my Hawkeye hat on too. I didn't even think about it.
If our listeners don't recall, Sam was an important piece of Iowa State football history.
Thanks, Ben. It means a lot.
Bro, you got to go to bowl games. You got all the swag. Like,
no kidding.
Nobody we know has done that. That's cool stuff.
I did.
I'm joking with you. So that's good stuff, Sam. We love you.
I know. No, it was fun. I met a lot of cool people and still talk to a lot of those guys today. So
Yeah, even if it isn't a Division II school. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They moved up, didn't they?
Before we get into this, do you have predictions, Sam? What's your thoughts on this weekend?
I think that it's going to be a heavyweight bout. I think that both teams will lean on each other and try not to be the first to make a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much Ferentz Campbell ball right there.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said in the podcast, Iowa 23-13, but 16-13 also sounds very logical to me as well. So
yeah,
it's probably going to be ugly.
Yeah, definitely will be.
It
Might
be
be 10-6.
Oh God,
6-2. Who knows?
That'll be the worst 3 hours of my Saturday, no matter how the game goes.
For sure. Thanks to Revelton for helping us try to forget about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's recap our last podcast. We talked about girls and boys state tournament. We also had the one and only Casey Pelzer join us.
Thank the Lord.
To Casey.
Thank the Lord. There's only one and only.
He's just full of wisdom.
He is. Yes.
And blessings. We love Casey. It was fun.
Definitely.
It was good to have him on. Now maybe he'll stop asking.
Doubtful.
No.
Doubtful. He's probably wanting on next week again or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. I think we ought to make him drink every time we say his name during a podcast.
That would be awesome.
That'd be a great game.
It was fun to talk to him, though, about how he sees everything and being a pastor and a principal and an official. It's kind of a unique background for sure.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So, so tonight I am super excited for our guest, Dowling Catholic's head girls coach, Kristin Meyer. She's coached a player that we all probably know. Most of the world knows now, right?
Right.
But let's talk about that briefly, Lee. And, we kind of took our break from the state tournament till now, and we'll get into some of that with Kristin here coming up. But we kind of haven't talked about how the NCAA tournament went, and really both the Iowa and Iowa State women had a tremendous run, I thought. It was fun. Like I would probably say that I enjoy watching the women's game now more than I do the men's game.
Oh, I would agree with that. I watched more of the women's tournament than I did the men's tournament this last year.
Yep.
I've never watched more women's Iowa basketball than I had before.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree totally.
You couldn't not watch it.
Right. No, I mean, it was exciting all the time, and yeah, a lot of fun to watch.
How did you guys feel about the officiating during the women's tournament?
I wasn't real fond of it. There's just a couple calls that stick out in my mind, but very inconsistent.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I felt like, and we obviously make a lot of mistakes during our games, but I feel like on the big stage like that, there needs to be more consistency. That needs to get better, I think.
Agreed. I mean, you'd see, just a lot go by with no calls, physicality in that. And then all of a sudden you'd get something touch foul out front that was, meaningless to the game. And so, yeah, I agree that consistency definitely wasn't there.
Yep, for sure. So it was fun to watch, Iowa make it all the way to the final again and obviously beat LSU. Even if you're not an Iowa fan, I think beating Angel Reese and LSU was probably a good thing.
Probably
I'm the perfect
basically
example.
The national championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, Sam?
Not an Iowa fan. I'm the perfect example, not an Iowa fan, but I was glad they beat LSU. I wasn't just glad, I was really glad.
Yeah.
So that's all kind of crazy. Go ahead.
I can't stand Kim Mulkey. Can't stand her.
I'm surprised that we're bringing up Kim Mulkey because
I'm sorry.
I can't do it.
Yeah, the one thing that I really, really don't like about her is it is all about her. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's wear something that's as flashy as can be on the sideline, so the focus of the camera or everybody watching should be on me. And I just, I don't like her antics. I mean, I'm sure she's a great coach. She knows her basketball. There's no doubt about that. But as far as watching her, I could watch anything other than that.
For sure. For sure. So all that went down, and now, Caitlin's in the WNBA. And I got to be honest, I don't watch the NBA because I don't like the game really.
No, I don't either.
But I have come to watch the WNBA. I have their schedule up on my computer, and I try to watch every one of them now that I can.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I haven't watched hardly any NBA since Jordan, Bird, Magic Johnson. I thought it was exciting then, and now watching WNBA, just like watching the last game here. Was it Sunday they played?
Well, they played last night too, but Sunday as well.
But Sunday when she had was it last night she had the triple double, or was it?
Yeah.
Last night. And the guy, did you see the guy on the baseline in the crowd when he jumped up after she got that rebound to get her triple
Oh,
double.
yeah.
It was
Yes,
awesome.
for sure.
I thought he was going to run out on the floor. I mean, the game was over, and this guy was so excited that she got the triple double. She's just brought a lot of fandom to women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And haters are going to hate, so it doesn't matter what she does, what happens. But you can't argue with the viewers and all of the good things that are happening to the WNBA because of her. I mean, there's no question. It's because of her.
Yeah. You talk about, you've heard this term many, many times, generational talent. She has changed the game and she has changed viewership. Like it or not, Cheryl Swoops, she has been the one to change and turn the corner. There's no doubt about it.
Take that, Cheryl Swoops.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And even I think Sunday was the Fever or the Sky game, right? That was the Chicago game.
Yes.
Man, I am screaming at the TV at the fouls, the BS that's going on during those games now. Like I can't believe what kind of a fanboy I am at this point. So
you should put a camera on you so we can get video of that.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yes, let's do that so we can put that some snippets on the podcast next time.
We'll talk a little about the Olympics, I think, with Kristin here. Maybe she has some more info on that. But Kristin is with us, so I think let's get her on here. Cool. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, here we go. And Kristin, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Great. Good to see you.
Good.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, I love talking basketball and, the officiating side of things. I can't wait to hear your opinions on some things.
Oh, same. I saw you laughing when we were talking right there. I can kind of see you down below, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a good convo. I can't wait. So, so Kristin, we have got to know you kind of over time. I've been doing this. This is going to be my 20th season, and Jim, I think it's like 55 or something like that.
I started when I was 4.
You're only 59? So, we've kind of got to know you through basketball, kind of through your journey, through the different schools that you've been at. So we kind of wanted to start with that. Like, tell us high school, college, just kind of give us how you got to where you're at today.
Sure. Well, I'm from Olwine, Iowa originally. It's up in Northeast Iowa. It's probably 5,000 or 6,000, people in the town. And I think we were 3A in high school. I just love playing sports. It's kind of what you did with your friends. I played volleyball, basketball, and tennis. Basketball was always my favorite. And, I got to my senior year and still deciding, did I want to go play college basketball? Not Division I, but, a lower level, or just go to school, and ended up deciding I'll just go to school at Iowa State, not play basketball.
Yes, good choice.
Yeah, Iowa State, very good choice. Got there and loved going to school there, but I missed playing basketball and being part of a team and just being on a team and showing up to practice and some of those things. So towards the end of my first year at Iowa State, I was kind of narrowed down to 2 things: either look at transferring to go play basketball somewhere or get into coaching. And I had done some things even when I was in high school. I coached my younger sister's, park and rec basketball team. When I was at Iowa State, I helped with, I think it was called Little Dunkers through Ames Park and Rec, like kindergarten age basketball. So real
herding cats. Yeah, herding cats.
Exactly. So I ended up getting my coaching authorization, stayed at Iowa State, stayed in Ames, and my sophomore year, so I would have been 19 years old, I got the prestigious job of assistant girls basketball 7th grade coach at Nevada Middle School.
Everybody has to start somewhere.
It was a dream job, but honestly, I loved it. So I did 1 season of that while I was still going to school. The next year I picked up 8th grade volleyball. They needed an 8th grade volleyball coach. And I was like, man, if I'm going to do a part-time job, I already got a connection here. I'll go hang out with some kids and teach them some volleyball. And then the 3rd year, my senior year, I picked up middle school track. So I ended up coaching 10 years of volleyball from 8th grade to JV levels back and forth, middle school, high school. And then I did 11 years of middle school track. And I did 1 year of assistant 7th grade girls basketball. And then the next year I did 9th grade. I think I was a 9th grade coach for maybe 4 years. And then I was a JV coach for 2 years. And then I ended up, working my way up to varsity. But as I was going to Iowa State, my degree that I got was sport management and a minor in coaching. So I was thinking maybe, work for a park and rec department or possibly get into college athletics, or something. But I just really enjoyed working with high school, middle school athletes. So I decided to get my teaching license. So I got into an adult learning program at Simpson College and got my Master's of Arts in Teaching, my business education teaching license. So it ended up working out. I student taught at Des Moines North. And as I was finishing up student teaching, there's an opening for a business education teacher at Nevada High School. So I had already been coaching there for a few years.
Nice.
The other business teacher was the head girls basketball coach. I had been his assistant for a couple of years. I mean, It was just perfect timing that job opened up. So I got hired, stayed on, as a JV coach a couple more years. And then I was a head varsity coach for 6 years at Nevada.
So my first game with Nevada was in 2011 at Colfax Mingo. I was going back through my spreadsheets today trying to figure all that out, but I literally have zero recollection of that. So
do I.
I have a feeling that you guys probably beat Colfax Mingo that night.
I would bet money that it was probably a running clock. not to brag, but
yes, yeah. So 2015, you guys made the state championship. And pretty solid team, right? With Lexi Kodelka, was it Allie Faye?
Allie Faye.
And then there was kind of a taller, lanky gal too. I can't remember. Yeah. Yep. And you guys had quite a season. How was that? Like, thinking back to that, was that kind of your first real tournament run as a coach, basically?
Yeah, I had been an assistant volleyball coach, I think 2 years where we made it to state. So I kind of got a little bit of that experience. But before 2015, Nevada girls basketball hadn't been to the state tournament since 1968.
Holy cow.
So it's one of those things. It's not like we had this experience. They didn't have a coach that had experience, leading a team to state. The year before, we lost on a buzzer beater to Bondurant Farrar at Ankeny High School to go to the state tournament. I mean, just one of those crushing. I can remember exactly where the girl was at, shooting the shot, So I think that gave us a little bit of fire. And as you mentioned, we just had some great athletes. We had multiple sport, they were great in everything. I mean, they won a volleyball state title. They got second place in soccer a couple of years. Abby Stevenson, who is one of our great athletes who ended up going on to play soccer at Drake. She just got hired at Nevada for their head volleyball coach this year.
Oh, wow.
So
nice.
Today after school, I drove over to ADM to watch her coach. She was playing down there.
Nice.
And so it was so much fun to see her and watch her coach. But thinking back on those years at Nevada, just some really great kids, great athletes who were pretty good at basketball. I think Lexi Kodelka and Allie Faye, basketball was their number one sport, but a lot of them just good athletes, figured it out. So we get to, 2015 and have a good season, going into postseason, working our way up, end up making the tournament. And I mean, the whole town is just so excited for us. They're giving us a parade through town and you go to the elementary schools and everything. And not that we didn't think we could win games at state, but we hadn't done it. So we just kept preparing like we did for every regular season game. And we won the first game. Awesome. Okay, let's get ready for the next game. We won that game. Okay, awesome. Let's get ready for one more. And ended up beating Pocahontas in the state title. And it was, for not really knowing what to expect, it was incredible. It was just a really fun run with a lot of great kids who almost all of them were back the next year then in 2016.
Yeah, right. So kind of a flashback, and I told you this might happen. I happened to be at that game, that championship game.
My God.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing I remember most, the game was kind of back and forth. I think you guys were down in the first half, if I remember correctly. And Ellie Ruffridge, I think we all know who Ellie Ruffridge is, had, I think, 33 that night. And you guys still pulled it out. It was a fun game, fun night.
You know what? We probably felt pretty good about holding her to 33. To be honest.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah,
That's funny.
they were good. They were just deep at every position. Just so solid shooters, and they had a post that year. The next year they were better. The next year was when they beat us in the state championship. But Ellie Ruffridge, she was a player. I've often thought, what would she be like if she was in the CIML conference now? Playing 5A ball, but you also are surrounded by other 5A players. I don't know if she scores as many points, but I think she still is a very effective player. But be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and to your point, you guys had the rematch the next year, and then they pulled it out. But she didn't. I think she had 20 or something like that night. But so I guess in fairness, you both got one. So
I guess one is better than none. But,
that's right.
We were hoping for two.
Right.
So I heard in 2015 that you had a really good official at at your regional final game.
It wasn't me, Jim.
I'm sure we did. Is that game was that at Tama?
That was at Meskwaki.
Meskwaki. Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
How do you guys remember this?
Because I was reffing it.
Well, I know, but I don't remember last season, let alone 2015.
I have a spreadsheet, and I think if I look at certain things, I can remember certain things, especially tournament. I mean, that's a little bit different, I think.
Do you have?
And you remember? Yeah, you're in here.
All right.
All right. So after that season, you end up making the move to Dowling. How did that kind of come about?
Yeah. So 2015, we won the championship. 2016, we got second place, graduating some of our players, but still bringing back some. And I knew that the position at Dowling was open. I think it made news when Bob and Sharon Hansen are going to retire. They're dominant, in the sport. And when I saw that they were retiring, my first thought was, good for them. They've put in a lot of years. They deserve to retire and have some free time. At no point did it even cross my mind to apply for the job. Partially because I love Nevada, and if you like it, why you're not looking to leave. And probably number two, I didn't necessarily think I was a good enough coach for Dowling Catholic, because I would put Dowling Catholic up there in the top couple in the state, just based on their tradition. And so absolutely no plans to even look into the job. It was the morning after the state championship game. We played on a Saturday afternoon, and Sunday morning I woke up to an email from Tom Wilson, just asking if I might be interested in applying for the position. And I know he, reached out to a couple people, and at first I was very flattered, but I was like, no, I don't think so. I'm good where I'm at. I know I got my system in place. I know the people. I'm good. But eventually I went down and just met with the principal, talked about some things, and I was like, I'll go through the interview process. And obviously I was offered the job and accepted it. But it was one of those things that just kind of a little bit came out of the blue. But I think the things that attracted me, number one, basketball wise, they've been a powerhouse for a long time. Number two, I'm Catholic. I went to a Catholic elementary school. And so if I was looking to make a move to a different school, it'd probably be a bigger school than Nevada. Nevada was 3A, just for higher competition for basketball, but also possibly to a Catholic school. So there's some things that kind of attracted me to Dowling. And, Bob and Sharon had been at Dowling, besides a little break, for like 30 years. And so at the time I don't know if I was maybe 32 or so. And I'm thinking, this job may not come open again in my lifetime. Yeah. So, worst case scenario, I go there, I don't like it, and hopefully I can find a job somewhere. But, I was like, I got to go for it. And so it just kind of worked out and position.
Jim, you wanted to ask some questions about that, kind of the challenges and stuff, right?
Yeah. So what's your biggest challenge from going to Nevada to Dowling? Because obviously, 3A to 5A is a big difference.
It's a big difference. And the thing is, I was thinking about that a little bit. I think there's two different things. If I look at what I know now about 5A basketball compared to 3A, I mean, it's better players, to be honest. I think smaller schools, it's about the athletes you have. At 5A level, do you have basketball players? Now, those basketball players have to be great athletes, but it's more, there's more skill, there's more physicality. The kids are playing more often. There's more time in scouting. There's like everything is a little bit amped up.
Yeah.
But when I think back to my first year at Dowling, the curveball in there was Caitlin, because not only was I going from 3A to 5A, but when I was hired, I didn't know anything about Caitlin. And I've told people this, they may not believe me, but if I would have known about her before I interviewed, I don't know if I would have accepted the job. And it's
Really?
not about her. It would have been anyone if I would have known there was this like mega stud athlete coming. Because, I mean, when I was at Nevada, the year we won it, the last 5 games of the season, the 3 at state and the 2, leading up to state, we had 5 different leading scores. Like it was just, I was used to coaching a team that just was made up of, 5 players that all, not that they had similar roles, but they all contributed. Yeah. So I don't know if I would have felt prepared to coach now the most famous basketball player in the world, and so it's probably a good thing I didn't know. And it not that Caitlin was coming, but there was this awesome, incredible player coming. So I think there were just some challenges in figuring that out, because you've got this incredible player coming and the rest of the girls are getting used to her a little bit, and they're getting used to me, getting used to a new system. And so I think it would be a challenge being new anywhere, just getting kids used to you and you getting to know the kids. Then you throw in, an incredible athlete, and it's because I didn't know the other players. I wish it would have worked out that I could have been hired, maybe 1, 2, 3 years before Caitlin was in high school to establish not necessarily my way of doing things, but to get to know those players, to establish some of our culture pieces. So then you bring someone in, that is just a bigger focal point. It would have been just easier on all of us. But we navigated it. It's a good thing that I absolutely love Caitlin. And I've always she just has a personality that you can't help but love when you get to know her. Maybe as a ref, you don't always feel the same way.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. But honestly, you can't help but respect what she does on the court and her joy for the game. And so I really enjoyed getting to know her and just coaching her, knowing her as a person. But then it was trying to figure out, okay, how do we fit this all together into one team, which was a challenge that year. Whether it was going from 5A to 5A or 1A to 5A, we would have had that.
What a unique challenge for sure. So we're going to talk about Caitlin probably at the end here. We've got some other things we're going to come back to, but I'm going to ask you this while you kind of brought it up. So you didn't know about her, but after you accepted the job, was it 10 minutes later and somebody's like, oh, by the way, you have this amazing kid coming that's going to just be everything?
Well, I'm sure someone told me about her, but also I'm thinking you're telling me about an 8th grader, and this was 9 years ago, a little bit before social media was crazy, and Caitlin was never on social media a lot. Sure, that'd be like you saying, my daughter is really, really good.
Okay, yeah.
Well, let me see that type of thing.
Right.
But I went and watched her play AAU that spring, and actually she was playing AAU. So Lexi Kadelka, so Caitlin was an 8th grader. Lexi was a 10th grader. So Lexi was 2 years older and was on Caitlin's team.
Oh, okay.
So once I heard about it, I was like, hey, Lexi, tell me about Caitlin. And Lexi's the nicest person in the world, so she probably just smiled at me type of thing. But I went over and watched her play. And I mean, when you watch her play, even as an 8th grader, you're like, oh yeah, she's good. But I still didn't know what level that was,
Sure.
So that was kind of a process to figure it out.
Okay. So let's talk about your role at Dowling now, besides coaching. You're a technology integrationist.
Yep.
What does that mean?
I try to explain it by saying I don't fix computers or things like that. I just show teachers and students how to use them.
Okay. So
like
you could go help Sam hook up the new microphone and headphones that we have.
Yeah, I mean,
I would hope so. Hey, there you go. If you want to use our grade system, I can help show you the ins and outs of that.
Well, maybe I would take Kristen's help then.
What's that?
I would take your help, Kristin.
Yeah, so I just help people with technology.
And then you do teacher mentoring as well?
Yep. I do. I'm a new teacher mentor with one other person. It's funny, I got hired. My job title is just technology integrationist and new teacher mentor. Well, I'm like, I am the new teacher. It was a new position. I was like, I don't know who I'm going to mentor because I need my own mentoring.
So you're coaching players and you're coaching teachers basically at this point.
Basically, yes. Which I really enjoy because Dowling has about 100 teachers. So then I know every single teacher.
Nice.
Sometimes you get to where it's your department, but since I know all the new ones, I really enjoy that.
Okay. This is the piece where I think we're going to talk for a while. So you teach a class and you said you thought of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coaching and officiating. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So I also co-teach an education class. So that's for high school students who are interested in maybe going in to become teachers in the future. And then this year I might teach an intro to business class. Well, I am going to, which will be okay. But the athletic coaching and officiating class, a couple years ago, I to be honest, I miss being in the classroom. I really like, being around high school students, and I get that on the coaching side, but during the day, and I also felt like I didn't get to know a lot of other kids besides girls basketball players.
Sure.
And so I was like, okay, I can figure out, time in my schedule to teach a class. And I was like, if I'm going to teach more classes, I don't mind business classes, but I don't necessarily want to do more of those. I want to do something fun and something that I would have wanted to take as a student. So I proposed a coaching class to my principal. And he's like, okay, I could probably get on board with that. Go talk to Tom Wilson, our athletic director. Okay, Tom, what do you think? Would you be in favor of this? He's like, yes, I like it, but you have to add in some officiating. Because, we're just low on officials. We need to grow the officials in the state of Iowa. My first thought is, okay, I don't know that much about it. But if that's what it takes, we will put officiating in the name of the title. Coaching is probably 85 to 90%, but we will go ahead and have a officiating unit. And so last year was the first year we started the class. I had a class in the fall and then a new class of it in the spring. And then right now I'm teaching a section of it. And I got to say, I absolutely love it. Like I get to kind of pick my own curriculum, talk about things that are relevant, things in the news, and try to just give a different perspective. I think even if kids who take the class don't become a coach or an official, at the bare minimum, they will have a better appreciation for coaches and for officials when they figure out a little bit more that there's so much work behind both professions.
That's awesome.
That is sweet.
So the guy in the crowd that night, Ben, could have maybe used that class.
We'll get to that also, Jim.
Okay. What night? The night you both threw somebody out and I was just minding my own business?
No, just Ben threw him out, and it was a good one.
I'll say that was my easiest one ever. Before we go any further, we have a lot of questions about the officiating side of that. I better take a quick break here. Let's go to our commercials and our sponsors, and then we'll be right back with you, Kristin. Okay. Here we go.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com. In 2023, a crack Green Beret named Dan Douglas retired his military command and promptly escaped to a full-time career in real estate. Today, this man is wanted by home buyers and sellers who want to survive the process without spending a fortune. If you have a home to sell or want to buy one, maybe you can hire Dan Douglas at Green Beret Realty. You can find him at greenberetrealty.com. greenberetrealty.com.
All right, we're back after our A-team segment there.
That gets me jacked.
I like it. It's good stuff. Okay, so back to this officiating class. Oh, sorry, coaching class with a little bit of officiating.
Yes.
Tell me what you're doing on that side of things and where you're getting your information, and can we help you out?
Yes, I'm sure you can. Tell you what, if you can just block off about 2 weeks towards the end of this semester, if you can just come in and take care of the class, that'd be great. But I've tried to build a little bit more. Is it National Federation of High Schools, NFHS? They've got some videos online. They've got some information. There is, what is the website? Something you can ref or something like that. We get some resources from that. We try to get some from the Girls Union Boys Association website. It has some information about officiating. And so we're looking at some of it's just requirements. What training do you need? That type of thing. What is the availability? Looking at, the pay, looking at the skills you need, the equipment, just some of the background stuff. And then last year in the fall, I brought in Randy Heimerman, who officiates with, I think, Missouri Valley Conference. And he shared some things. And so, we're just trying to find some different resources. If you have some good ones, please pass them my way. It didn't seem like, because I had a couple kids possibly interested in officiating, and I even emailed, I think, Girls Union Boys Association. On their websites, there's not like a clear path to help people get into officiating. Like you can register and take the test and things like that. And we kind of talked about that, but it didn't seem like it was an easy process exactly of X, Y, and Z and talk to these people and go here and come try it here. And I don't know the best way to do it. But I know we're always looking for more officials.
So are you focusing strictly on basketball, or are you kind of breadth of anything, basically?
Anything. Because, a lot of the kids who take the class, I mean, last year we had more baseball, football type, whatever sport they're interested in, that's what we are interested in.
Gotcha.
I would say that when I first got into officiating, without Ben getting me into it, I knew how to, I had to take the tests and everything. But as far as getting assignments for games, there's really no information on who to contact, how to get games outside of, emailing ADs or something. So I'm with you, Kristin. I feel like there could be better information on how do you get games assigned? Who do you talk to?
Exactly. And even, middle school games, that would be a great place to start. And some of those things. And do you have to contact ADs right away? Or is there an officials union type thing that can help you out? And so that part I was a little bit surprised on, just because I've never really done much research on officiating. I will stand on the sidelines and once in a while let you know how you can do your job better, but I don't actually want to do your job.
I think the DMOA has done a much better job over probably like the past 5 years of helping people out. But it's also the thing is they need to know where that's at, because I have said more than once that I don't think, and I've said it to our people in the association and the Girls Union, that we don't do a very good job of recruiting officials. We put posters out there, we do stuff, but we really don't have someone that needs to go around and talk to groups at schools all across the state and, talk to them about the benefits of officiating and that, and not, because I think, they see from the crowd sometimes that when some of the crowd is not so nice, and they go, why would I want to do that? So I think we can do a better job all around of recruiting younger officials.
I think it would be really cool if the girls' union, boys association, or officials association had like a 1-day, kind of like a job fair type thing.
Yeah.
As a coach, you let all of the athletic directors know. Ask your coaches for 1 or 2 players that might be interested in officiating in the future, and then you come down to Des Moines or Ames or wherever it is. We're going to tell you what to do, where to go, who to contact. We're going to mock run through, we're going to find a PE class that's playing flag football or basketball or whatever, and you're going to get to practice. But something to actually let kids, go somewhere and make some connections and learn more about it. Because last spring, I had a kid in my class who officiated, was a baseball umpire, like a little kid, baseball umpire. He made good money. I mean, you can make some good money, especially even if it's club stuff or youth, stuff. You're looking for a part-time job as a 17-year-old. They're not looking for varsity basketball. You can go find a bunch of things and then work your way up. But they just need to be kind of, like you said, someone's got to pull them in. And athletic directors and coaches are the ones that need to be recruiting officials and coaches. I think the same thing with coaching. Let's get a 1-day, you get invited to this seminar, this clinic, this whatever. You get out of school, we'll feed you lunch, and we'll have some speakers and you'll get to learn something. Your name is now on a contact list. I'll be honest, I don't want to organize any of this, but I will throw out these ideas. And
you've got me all pumped up now, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm in. You
I think so too. So are you going to host this at Dowling if we do it?
You're welcome to come. We have school most days, but if you can get Tom Wilson to host it, I am all in. I will join. I will be a guest speaker, but I do not want to organize.
That'd be great. I think it would be. It'd be fun. I mean, maybe we could do it on a Monday sometime, since at Melcher Dallas here we only have a 4-day week now.
No, good golly.
We don't have to go on Mondays except for one Monday a month for professional development. So 4-day work week. How you like that?
Are you looking for a technology integrationist, a new teacher mentor?
we might. We have a brand new gym, brand new weight room.
Okay, you're sweetening the pot.
Kristin, I've had to deal with a Melcher Dallas AD and coaches before. I think stick where you're at. Yeah, I think you're fine.
Okay, I'll work 5 days a week.
Who is that you dealt with?
You.
Oh.
I think I love everything you just said, Kristin.
Yeah, I do too.
I think we can tell a couple people. I mean, Chuck, Aaron at the girls' side. I'm sure we can talk on the boys' side. And I wouldn't be shocked if we couldn't make something happen on the basketball side. Maybe this coming season even. I mean, I can even see, they're integrating, some of those youth games at the state tournament. Why couldn't we just have an officiating session there when we're all kind of around and down there anyway? I think that's probably easily doable, and I love it. I hope the right people are listening, but if not,
that's awesome
let
stuff.
Let come and get a floor seat. Let them get to talk to officials. Let them, in the huddle where the officials are meeting before the games, and then you can do a panel and do other things. I think that would be awesome.
Oh, I do too. I think that's great. Boy, we got some good ideas.
Yep, this has been fantastic.
Woo. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about basketball officiating. You as a coach, us as officials. What in your mind, in your opinion, makes a good official versus a bad official? And we're just going to talk basketball tonight.
I think the number one thing for me is consistency. And probably a lot of coaches would say that. There's some people who call it a little tighter, some people not as tight. As long as after the first quarter, we kind of know what to expect. I think it's our job as coaches and our players' job to adjust a little bit, but consistency as good as it can be. I also realize every play is very different. I think someone who's just willing to talk to you, and understand, they might admit if they make a mistake, they might, banter a little bit back and forth if you're at a free throw or, something funny happens. To be honest, the bar for me is pretty low. on what makes a good official because I know I don't want to do it. I know it's a hard job, and I think people are trying their best. I think officials are just like players and coaches. We're all trying our best. No one is going out there trying to be horrible. I don't think you guys are looking to stick it to our team or us as coaches or our players. And the other thing that this might sound, I don't know if it sounds bad about me or not. I don't notice officials much during a game. I'm too busy, and I realize I'm not going to argue all that much. So I'm not going to waste my time trying to tell you exactly how to do your job because I am busy enough trying to do my job at least a decent level.
Yeah.
I think we need to put that in a soundbite for like the boys association and the girls union.
Yeah.
Like play before the game.
Yeah.
Like we're not out here trying to be terrible. We're doing our best.
I mean, that's like a kid who misses 12 layups in a row. They're not trying to. And sometimes, like, there's just bad players. There's sometimes bad officials. And me yelling at a bad official is not going to make them a good official.
Right.
Like, and again, I don't want to do their job. So just like a parent yelling at me, you probably don't actually want to do my coaching job. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. And we're just going to try to get through it and worry about what we can control.
Like you should be the video on the union sites. First thing you see.
I agree.
Well, I am very proud
folks.
that this will be my 22nd year of coaching. I've gotten 0 technical fouls. And I plan on never getting a T. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't coach some players that got T's. We can talk about that later.
What?
But I think it does matter. And again, I am busy doing my job. If I'm yelling at you about how you're doing your job, then I'm not coaching my team. And so there's times I'll ask questions or, it looked like she's hand checking there or whatever. But for the most part, I'm too busy. I'm too busy doing my job to do your job.
I've done enough
never to give Kristin a technical because I'm not going to get mad.
No,
I'm coming for you.
You know what I'm thinking? Like we're gonna have some weird, stupid administrative thing that she's gonna get her first technical.
Yes.
I'm blaming it on my assistant coach. Then
one number wrong.
Which one?
Joel, obviously.
Joel, of course, obviously.
Which girl will hang on the rim in warm-ups? I mean, they can dunk, but I don't think they can hang on the rim.
If I will try to get a player, if she can do that, I will take a technical before every single game if she's out there hanging on the rim, just so we can brag about that and show off.
Absolutely.
I'll take all those tees.
Now the girls can in pregame. If you've got someone that can dunk, they can dunk in pregame. Boys can't. But yes, they've said that before. Unless that's changed by the Iowa girls, because there was a girl from Cherokee at one time who could dunk, and she dunked in warmups. And it's not
was that in like.
Don't even start.
65.
Don't even start.
Beach baskets.
Was the hoop at 9 feet back then?
No.
We are now the first 3 weeks of practice only working on dunking.
Awesome.
The only thing we are going to do is I want someone to dunk in a game. I don't care about scores. I don't care. That's all we're working on from now on. Ellie Muller, she's our 6'3" post. That is your only job this year. Figure out how you can dunk.
Man, I hope for your sake she's not listening right now because she's going to walk into that practice and be like, "Let's go, it's dunk time."
Yeah,
you would challenge me. She's playing volleyball now. She's getting a bunch of jumping in, so she'll be good.
That's right. So we kind of hit on it, but like, we love your approach, and you are so calm, and really, you don't bother us unless you have a question, like you said, a hand check or whatever, and I think we probably appreciate that more than anything in the game because you're not bothering us because we're trying to do our job at the same time. And anytime you're talking to us, especially if the clock is running, which we're not supposed to do, but we're not going to ignore you. Like we can't do our job appropriately. So we completely appreciate that. And if you're asking something, it's probably maybe an issue, right? Like, yeah, maybe we ought to watch that hand check a little bit better, or maybe there was contact on that. So thank you for being a stand-up coach for us.
Absolutely.
I try to do my part just for you guys.
Okay. So another part of this whole official coach thing is recommendations. And do you deal with that at your school then for the girls' side?
Yeah, I every year go in and do the recommendations.
Okay. So I think we've talked about this in the past, but to get further in officiating to state or whatever, coaches have to, a part of our ability to move up is on coaching recommendations. In some places we've heard coaches do it, some places the AD does it. So it just differs. So I wanted to ask you that. And do you take a pride in doing that, I guess, to make sure you get people that you want to officiate your tournament games?
Well, a couple things with that. Number one, I'm sometimes bad with names. So if there was pictures with each ref, that would help. Again, I'm bad with names. What's the Des Moines Association, the head of that?
Rittman?
Yes. He came to our CIML coaches meeting, and then he emailed out because I said, at least, I don't know if anyone else, but I could use some pictures for all of them. And he emailed out a document that had all the CIML refs and pictures. The big thing with me, like I said, I don't pay attention to the refs a lot because I don't spend my energy there. And I also think the CIML has the best refs in the state across the board. So I've been very happy with all of them. There's not too many that I would rank low. So I try to go in and rank quite a few of, a good quality ranking. But honestly, I don't have much to complain about when it comes to our CIML refs.
Yep. That's great. Yep. Where do you want to go now? Jim, Sam?
I just want to ask one thing before we go on, since I didn't ask it yet. Do you remember your regional? It was second round, but your first game this last year at Dowling versus, was it Lincoln? Do you remember the referee right before he goes to throw the ball up in the air and his whistle didn't work? And he had to run into the locker room?
Was that you?
That was me. Probably one of the most embarrassing moments I've ever had.
Actually, I think Lincoln probably appreciates that because that took an extra 30 seconds because that game was real short.
Oh, yes, it was. Yes, it was.
One other thing I was thinking about with the officials' recommendations, personally, I'd rather get an email the next day after a game, rank these 3 officials.
Oh,
I think by the end of the season, and I have to go back and find my card of who even officiated what game because I don't really keep a book anymore because it's all computerized. But if I were to get an email, I wake up this morning, my inbox, and I have a picture of each one, and I could just rank, 1, 2, 3, good, great, bad, whatever, each official, each night. Like, send it to me. It'll take me 15 seconds. Then I don't get to March because sometimes, I'll be honest, I don't do it until after the state tournament before it's due. And then I'm like, okay, who did I have? What game? And I think I liked them. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would help me out. I don't know if people would find that annoying, but get immediate feedback and you get more officials rankings, and ratings. So you guys would get more feedback.
Yep. That's, man.
She's full of good ideas.
You are. That's fantastic.
The picture for Jim could just be a whistle. Yeah, that's the idiot that his whistle didn't work.
Brand new whistle.
That's the funny thing about officiating is we always have stupid or silly things happen that, you guys probably don't even know. But Jim's whistle didn't work. It was sealed shut because it was new, right, Jim?
Brand new.
I lost, 15 seasons ago. I had my jacket on pregame and I had my whistle in there, and somehow the lining of the jacket ate up the whistle and I couldn't find it, couldn't get it out. And it was like one of those games at Wells Fargo, like before the D-League game or G-League, whatever it is. So I had to run from half court all the way back to the dressing room to find a whistle. So stupid stuff like that is happening all the time. But if you can't laugh about it, whatever.
No kidding.
So
for sure.
Kristin, you've obviously had a ton of success at Dowling, state tournament 7 out of 8 years. And the one that probably surprises me the most the year that you didn't was Caitlin's senior year. Yeah,
that's fair. That surprises me the most too.
And I was there.
Did you ref our Sioux City East game?
I did. Yep.
Yeah.
It was... Caitlin had 40, I think.
Probably.
I think it was 40, and did everything she could to make that team win. And Sioux City, it was East or West, I don't even remember.
East.
Just kept having answers and had kind of that bigger post girl. Who did she go to Iowa State? Maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, just kind of a weird run that we've had. I did that state championship, and then that Caitlin's last game, and I don't know. It's just weird, but. The other theme I noticed as I was going through everything is it seems like when you guys lose at state, it's to the eventual champion pretty much every single time. So
yeah, I've noticed that as well. And I don't know if we need to get a different seating or we just need to end up winning the whole thing. It's happened a lot.
So this coming season, you return pretty much every single player. And you've got to have some pretty strong feelings. You guys were runners up last year. We have both Mullers back. You have Ava Zedeker, who's all world. Got to be a pretty exciting feeling. And knowing that Johnston has lost a couple players, still going to be really good with Jenica, but talk about your approach to this coming season, I guess.
Yeah. I haven't thought too much yet about once we start practices. I think it feels like we finally have an old team, an experienced team, because we've been pretty young for a number of years. And so we're excited. I think I'm excited to give more control away to the players, let them hopefully be able to lead a little bit more. And I think that will end up helping us in the long run. I think it's good for them as athletes and leaders to get more experiences. And they know the game. They know our expectations. They know the other, players that they're playing against. And so I think hopefully allowing them to do a little bit more, take a little bit more ownership, and maybe a little bit more freedom offensively, defensively, will keep it fresh, keep it fun. We've got high expectations. We don't really talk about state championships much. It's one of those I go back and forth on, do you set it as a goal or do you not mention it? Both ways I think are fine. It's whatever you want. But I think everyone in our program knows, that is what we're capable of. That's our potential. But we're also not going to focus on the outcome of one game at the very end of the season. I think that kind of cloud what's right in front of you. So, we try to approach practice as let's get a little bit better every day. Let's get ready for our next game. And for probably the 6th or 7th season in a row, we've got the toughest schedule in the state. We schedule a couple out-of-state teams.
Right.
Conference alone is just brutal. But we try to go out and find the toughest schedule we can find. I mean, we're going to go up to Minnesota over Thanksgiving like we have almost every year. We're going to play 2 different state championship teams from last year, Providence Academy and I think it's Benilde St. Margaret. We're going to play Hopkins, who got second place at state. We're going to play them in December at Johnston. We're going to play Omaha team out in Omaha at the Creighton facility in January. We want to go play great teams to help show us where our weaknesses are, so we can hopefully clean those up before we get to February or March. So I'm just really excited. I'm excited more for our team and the people than just our potential of winning games. It is really, really fun group of players and coaches. I'm so blessed to have Joel Danner and Audrey Faber as my assistant coaches. We have a blast. And last year, we ended up second. We had a couple losses throughout the season. I think we had 5 losses and 3 of them were to Johnston. Whew, if we could get them this year, that'd be great. But but honestly, we had a blast all season long, even though we lost a couple games. So I think still keeping it fun, keep improving. But don't take things for granted. Don't just assume you're going to win games and don't put all of your thought and energy on that March, whatever, state championship game. Like, let's just enjoy each day, each game practice, because it's going to go fast.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. Very good advice.
Enjoy the moment for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about Caitlin.
How much time do you guys got?
So how many thousands of requests are you getting to speak about Caitlin?
They've slowed down a lot.
Sure.
I did a podcast maybe 3 weeks ago. I did a couple things over the summer, but I mean, in January and February this year, I was getting probably 1 or 2 requests a day, with whether it was someone coming in person to interview or a phone call interview or whatever, to send them some things. A year and a half ago, I mean, I probably got this year, I don't know, maybe 50 different, interviews and things. And a year and a half ago, maybe, 20 or 30. I feel a little bad sometimes because I'm like, am I just telling the same stories over and over? I mean, someone could read my quotes from 12 different articles and be like, that is literally the same thing. But okay, well, this is what I got.
Yeah. Yep. What was your relationship like?
Like I mentioned earlier, she's the type of kid, at least for me, I couldn't help but just love her. She's got a sense of humor that I think is pretty close to mine. And I like joking around when it's appropriate. Caitlin likes, joking around. So I think that helped us both, where we can, be kind of lighthearted at times, but then when it's time to lock in, it's time to lock in. And so I appreciated the off the court, getting to know Caitlin really well. As far as on the court, I mean, we see it now. Her vision on the court and her awareness is like unbelievable. She can see things that you can be slow-mo on your computer or on your, TV or whatever, and you wouldn't see. I used to joke that during a varsity game, there could be someone while the game is being played in the 15th row that drops a piece of popcorn, and Caitlin would see it.
That's so true.
It was, sometimes pretty full arenas, and she'd come up to me during a timeout and be like, did you know Coach so-and-so, a certain college coach is here up in that corner? Like, yeah, I did know that. They told me ahead of time. I know it now too. But she just sees the court at it, like it slows down for her. And that's pretty incredible. And I think we developed a good relationship, as far as there's certain things that as head coach, I'm going to tell you to do, and you got to do them. But also I'm going to take your feedback. I'm going to give you some say in what we do. I'm going to trust you, to run some things offensively or what you think is best. But I really enjoyed coaching her.
I think what you talk about her, what she sees in a game, as you can see that now with playing with the Fever the first half, and obviously giving her a little bit of a break during the Olympics helped her tremendously. But I think it helped her team too, because they weren't ready for what she sees. You talk about, they want to talk about her turnovers and that. And some of them were because she sees the court well enough, and the person she is trying to get the ball to doesn't see that it's coming to her. So it's just amazing that, and you can see their team is catching up with her now as far as what she sees, and they're playing very good basketball.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe that even now she's almost too good for some of her players in the WNBA. I think it was maybe her sophomore senior season at Iowa. I texted her like in March and was like, Caitlin, I think high school basketball was harder for you than Division I college basketball, because most people, they struggle when they get to that higher level because everyone is so much better. But I think it's harder sometimes to go play if, I'm not saying I'm a D1 player right now, but if I'm going to go play with fourth graders, it would be hard to times skill level to match that. And so it was probably good, hindsight's 2020 kind of perspective. There were certain things I expected when she was in high school, but it was hard for me to see how good her skills were until she was with college players and now WNBA players.
Yeah. Yep. I even noticed last night her teammates have become better passers. Like there was a backdoor from Boston to Mitchell that I'm like, they would have never done that play until Caitlin was there. Like she's making them all better. It's fantastic to watch.
Yeah, the game before where Kelsey Mitchell caught the great pass from her and then behind the back.
Yes.
Whoa! When you see it, then you can maybe do it. And I think the Olympic break was good, not only for them to practice together, but get to spend time together. That's hard for her teammates to come in, and with all the media hoopla surrounding Caitlin, if you don't really know her and people are saying, your league is only popular because of her, like that's a lot to try to digest, let alone get to play with her. And then you miss a ball because you're not used to it. And, people on social media are saying that you're horrible and all of this or whatever it is. I think they just got a chance to get to know each other, to build that trust. And now we're seeing it. And to be honest, it'll be fun watching their play.
Oh, yeah. They're dangerous. And I don't know. I think Dave Portnoy put, what was it, $10,000 on them to win it. And he's going to win. It was like 10,000 to 1 or something. Like he's like all in on that. And I'm like, holy cow. Like, and it looks like it could happen. You know?
The way they're playing right now. Yeah.
If I had as much money as he did, I'd put, 50
yes.
on it. I don't know if I will be, but good for him.
All right. So this is probably the most difficult portion of the Caitlin discussion. And we have to ask these things because we are officials and this is an officiating podcast. How did you discuss her interactions with officials when you were coaching her?
We had lots and lots. And I would say maybe it shows I'm not that good of a teacher. But no, Caitlin, I will say this. Caitlin understands the game as good as anyone.
For
and
sure.
Probably 90% of the time, she was correct in what she thought should have been called.
Yep.
I mean, I look back and there's so much pushing and bumping because she was just so much quicker.
Yeah.
But as an official, you can't call that every time, and whatever. But so she was probably right a lot. But for her, sometimes things are black and white. And when it's very clear, how is it not clear for you? And that's just justice,
Yeah.
And so the conversations we had were more about not necessarily about the officials themselves, but in the time that you're talking to the officials or you're doing this or you're upset, what are you not doing? You know the game better than anyone on your team. You are a leader on our court. You know what needs to be done. Your teammates look up to you. If there are 12 seconds on a dead ball, instead of spending 11 and a half complaining to an official, go talk to your teammates. They need you more than that official. No offense, but most 40, 50-year-old men do not want to be told how to do their job by a 16-year-old player, right? Like they're not going to give you more calls. That's the other thing I see. Even from a coaching side, I've coached with and coached against some coaches where I'm like, ooh, they are fired up. They're always riding the officials. I think their team sometimes got called for more calls. Not that refs are looking for reality, but also
we're human.
Job. Yeah, you're human for sure.
Yep.
And so I tried to convey that over 4 years, thousands of times to Caitlin. And I think at times she got better. At times, and she was a kid, you're 14, 15, 16.
Yeah.
You're already a little frustrated because maybe how you're playing, your teammates aren't quite on your level.
Yep.
And the other teams are really pressuring you and you feel pressure on you, all that stuff. So I get that. But we had lots of conversations and I tell you, she got, I think 3 technicals in high school. Every single time she had to sit, usually it was at least a quarter. Like she knew kind of where I stood. Sometimes maybe it stopped her, sometimes not, but she knew I didn't agree with it, but also it was kind of, she had to do it. She did. Funny story. I was at the Iowa Basketball Coaches Association meeting like 2 weeks ago. And another coach, I don't know him real well, but he came up, we were talking about Caitlin. He goes, I was having a conversation not too long ago with an official who, officiates a lot of games. He officiated some of your games, when Caitlin was in high school. And he told the story that one time you're coming out of halftime and he comes over to you and says, hey, coach, will you tell number 11, keep an eye on her? She's kind of chewing at us, blah, blah, blah. And apparently I told him, then give her a T. If she's talking, I've done my part. I try to control her. But if she crosses the line, you let her know, and there were times that it was like that. I don't need to keep telling you. If she's misbehaving, then she can handle those consequences.
Yeah. I think her career was amazing. And, you know, as we look back, I mean, we've had a lot of conversations about her and her games when we had her in high school, and she was tough to officiate. But now you kind of see her progression and her abilities that we've kind of all talked about and we all see today. Like, it's a little bit of that Michael Jordan-esque stuff where I don't think any of us can understand her competitiveness enough to understand why she is that way, right? And
Agreed.
yeah, so I don't have any ill feelings towards her. She was tough to officiate. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But I see why for sure. And
competitiveness is the biggest thing. I mean, not everybody that doesn't have that in them doesn't understand it completely. I mean, I've talked to this about Ben, or when Ben has refereed, when I was coaching, I was horrible. I had refereed for 15 years or more, was fortunate enough to make the state tournament at that time beforehand, and then went into coaching because my daughters were playing. And my focus the first few years was too much, as you said, you don't do. Mine was on the officials because I knew what they should be doing and some weren't doing it the way it should have been. And I was not very good as a coach then, but I was very competitive. And sometimes that came out in the wrong way. And, you know, some people...
all of the times.
You should have talked to Kristin way before that then.
Yes.
So, but I'm just saying that you know, people don't understand that competitiveness sometimes that people have for, or the passion they have for something. And when they know that something is not what it should be, sometimes your instant reaction is something that maybe it shouldn't have been. And sometimes after you're done, it's like, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that. You know, so, you know, and I think that's maybe one of the number one knocks on her right now. Sometimes it is just the way she reacts to things with, you know, and that. But I love watching the before the game or really after the game, the way she treats the young girls in the crowd. I mean, she is promoting this sport better than anybody in the world at this point in time. And not everybody sees that all the time. I mean, one of the things that I heard before I really knew anything about or started watching Caitlin in college, I did ref her in high school a couple times too. But before I really started watching her, one of the things that somebody told me is you ought to see her when she works with young kids and that. She is phenomenal. I'm like, so, you know, she is doing great things. If you're going to judge her on that one thing, then you don't know her very well.
Yeah, I agree. And she's always been wonderful with youth players, whether it's our camps or clinics and things like that. And she's also so well spoken with the media. And she is a genuinely kind person. I agree, the competitiveness that shows in some of those things. My argument to her was always, yeah, but does it help our team?
Right, exactly.
When you're doing this, what do your teammates feel like? They missed, you know, the pass. Is that going to help us the next play? And I get that's your reaction, but as a competitor, you got to realize what is going to help us win, you know, and help your teammates. But, you know, sometimes it's the good with the bad, and it is just what she does. But all the good stuff she does, like, way outweighs some of those things.
Like, I think, you know, you talk about that in my coaching experiences, like coaching quarterbacks. I would always tell them, you know, kid drops a handoff, a pass that was right in their hands and they missed it. It's your job to tell them it was your fault and not theirs, because if you continue to berate them for something that they're doing wrong, you know, they don't get any better. But if you know, they just got the leaders have to step up and say, hey, that's my fault. We'll get it next time. You know, so
I think a lot of it too is the spotlight shines so bright on her.
Ooh.
So, you know, if you've got someone who's the second person coming off the bench and they throw their arms up on a call or whatever, it's like nobody thinks about it. But since it's Caitlin Clark and she's in the spotlight, then, you know, whether that's a negative or not, but I think that the pressure is more so on her than anybody else.
Yeah, crazy.
For real.
I mean, how many people at her age could handle the spotlight that she's getting right now? I mean, that she's, you know, I mean, some people she would have a absolutely horrible rookie season if they had, I mean, you know, if
they were oversensitive about it. Yeah.
You can't talk about the WNBA without talking about CC. I mean, you just can't. No. And so she knows that, and she has handled it better than anybody I've seen in the professional world.
Yeah, mature beyond her years for
Crazy.
Sure. Yeah. And you had mentioned, Kristin, I think, and we've had this discussion as officials, sometimes when we have an amazing player, you're right, we probably are calling less than we norm against an average player, because she could get through those contacts and those things. And like in hindsight, you're like, man, I probably should have called that. Yeah. But because she's so good, like you have this expectation of, well, she doesn't need us, and that, you know what I mean? It's a weird thing you don't see very often, but we have definitely discussed before.
Yeah. So. I used to tell her that, they're not going to call that because someone bumps you, you're not losing the ball. Right. Whereas if they bump a different player, they're losing the ball. So they need to call it to not even it out, but to make it where, it does impact the game. But she just couldn't always, see that. And I was like, you should be able to get an and one then every time. Because even if they don't call it, then you at least get your 2 points.
Yep.
But from her point of view, even you saw it at Iowa, you see it now. She's constantly harassed, when she has the ball and double teams and physicality. So after a while, that would be frustrating. Yeah. And then if you're playing defense and you barely touch someone and then you get called, you're like, wait a second. It goes back to the consistency. And I think she just wants consistency, but she doesn't quite realize how hard it is for the ref to ref her in the game that includes her, because she is so good.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Good players make us make tough decisions.
Yeah, definitely.
So we won't take much more of your time here. Have you been to any Fever games yet?
I went to one out in Indianapolis in June. I took my 10-year-old niece with me. It's fun. I mean, the environment is great. I got to see Caitlin a little bit after the game. It was one that they beat the Sky, so it was a great game.
Even better.
A lot of fun. One of those probably first wins, because it was June, probably 18th or something around there. But it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I went. I'm hoping to next year get to a few more. I've watched every game, on TV, and I watched pretty much all of her college games as well. But I just love seeing the attention that she's helping bring to the WNBA. And then it also, shines that spotlight on other players. I've watched the WNBA for quite a few years, not as religiously as I do now. So I've always appreciated the talent that they have, but now it's good to see so many more people seeing it. I think sometimes that leads to more people having opinions that maybe they don't need to share, or uneducated opinions. That comes with the territory as well.
Cheryl.
Cheryl, don't be a Cheryl.
No comment.
You need to make a T-shirt that says that, Jim.
Yeah, no kidding. What I another thing when you talk about that, and her handling herself and that with the maturity. I mean, she was named Player of the Week last week, right? And what did she say?
That Kelsey Mitchell should have gotten it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's just like I said. Most people, there's a lot of them would have been just happy as could be, and they deserved it and that, and which she did, and Kelsey Mitchell probably did too. She had a heck of a week too, but it's just great to see how she's leading that team being a rookie.
Yeah,
it's incredible. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, I'll bet you are.
You should be.
Yeah, you should be.
All of the credit for it. She's the because of Kristin Meyer, and I'm going to blame my assistant coaches for every other player that did not become Caitlin Clark's caliber. That was the assistant coaches taking charge, but I will take sole credit for all of Caitlin's success.
Isn't Audrey a cousin of hers?
Yeah. Yep. They're first cousins.
Oh, how did Audrey not get the skills?
Well, what's funny is Audrey came on our staff the year after Caitlin graduated.
Yeah.
I said after working with her, Audrey, I wish you would have been here a year ago. And she's like, there's a reason I didn't. But no, they're really close. Audrey is awesome. Caitlin's their family. They're both, from the Nizzi family. And it's so fun. I probably stay more up to date about Caitlin through Audrey, just because Caitlin's so busy. I don't want to bombard her all the time. But I feel very lucky to have gotten to know Caitlin, her family, and now Audrey, through basketball, because there's wonderful people.
Cool.
Yeah. Shout out to Audrey and to Joel. Always good to see them too. So
exactly.
Are you going to go to the Olympics 28?
I mean, I haven't booked a ticket yet, but it'd be cool. I would consider. The summer's a little bit easier on my schedule.
Yes, I heard Ben was buying them for at least the podcast, guys.
Ooh.
See you there, guys.
We'll have to get some more viewers before we go down that road. That's all I got. Guys, anything else for Kristin?
Oh no, it was what a great
great to hear you
have you on here. You had great stuff for us.
We appreciate having you on. You got some of the best ideas I've ever heard.
Yeah,
for sure.
And we want to try to implement some of those, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, no, definitely.
Yeah, I think high school sports in general are so fun, and I think there's some things with club sports and even college and NIL and some of that's taking some of the attention away from high school sports. And so I just do what I can to try to promote high school sports, coaches, players, officials. And I think we're all lucky to be involved with high school athletics in the state of Iowa. I think the girls union does a tremendous job, and
they do.
I love it. I love coaching. I'll probably keep coaching for a very long time because it's so fun, and I feel very blessed to get to do it.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate all your ideas, and like I said, we'll be working with some people hopefully to help implement that. So absolutely. I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Yep.
And if you need anything for your officiating class, let us know too. You've got our contact information now, and we'd be happy to help out and lead you in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, maybe sometime on a Monday during class, since I don't have class.
Damn enough.
Oh yeah, I'll be contacting you guys. I know my homework assignments now for the officiating class part of it. You go listen to these podcasts.
That's right.
Critique them. You give them lots of good feedback. You come watch our games, and kids write down every single mistake they made. Sit on, because I
absolutely
want that feedback.
Yeah, yes.
Every bit of it.
If you watch a game with film of all three of us, I would zero in on Jim.
Well, yes, I would if I was you too for your class. If you want to look at good officiating, that's what I would do. If you want to look at somebody who needs a little bit more help, zero in on Sam. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
I was gonna show that video of us at Dowling when we had to toss that fan that cussed me out. But we'll do that another time, because that's just part of what we go through. And it's funny how that was at Dowling, where everything's going well. And that was like a 50-point game, and we're getting screamed at.
That was a regional game.
Yes.
A year and a half ago. I remember just being. I felt so bad for his daughter, because it had to be.
Kidding.
And it's silent in there. Like I said, we're up, 40 points, and he's yelling about something in the fourth quarter.
And travel.
And there's 10. Well, here's exactly what it was we didn't call the foul on their girl that bumped the Dowling girl who made her travel. And then we ended up calling the foul, and he didn't like it because we didn't call the travel. Because we hesitated and waited and tried to let him play through it because it was a 50-point game. And then he goes off. And, when there's 10 people on that side of the gym, you're going to hear everything he says. And we did.
That's called taking out the trash, boys.
A little waste management.
The high school kid who was running the radio, the music, turned on the music then. So next time I will just look at him and just point to the scoreboard.
Yes.
You think that'll help?
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
You know what? You can have the ball back.
Yeah.
I think he was upset about the 3+ hour drive back to Sioux City that night.
Yeah.
Well, he got a head start.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. We totally appreciate it.
Yes, thanks, Kristin.
Good luck this season. We hope to see you down at state again. So
thank you all for the work you do officiating. I know it's not easy. We appreciate it, although a lot of times you may not feel that appreciation when you're in the gym. But thanks for having me on. I love chatting with you guys. You guys do a great job, and we're lucky to have you.
Have a great year.
Awesome.
Thanks for what you do, Kristin.
Bye. Well, that was awesome, boys.
That was good. That was good.
That was really good.
She's good people. I don't know that we've had anybody on that has had so many tremendous ideas that's not in like the officiating world. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she gets it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff.
She understands that, we have to do some things if we want to continue to have high school sports and have officials at all our games all the time. She understands we need to do something.
Yep, for sure.
So,
real quick here before we go, I just wanted to mention this Saturday, one of our fellow Three Beards Media podcasts, Side of the Storm, they're doing a live episode this weekend previewing the Cyhawk game at Coach's Colashes in Urbandale from 10 to 11:30 a.m. So the first 20 collages are on our sponsor, Green Beret Realty. So feel free to join them out there, especially if you're a Cyclone fan. They're going to be doing kind of a pregame and should be a good time.
Conrad Hawley.
There you go. Good stuff. What else we got?
You going to mention the merch?
Oh yeah. So I don't even have to pull up the merch picture tonight. You two just show. And I will also be contacting Kristin. Our guests will get a t-shirt of their choice.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I took care of that for us, and hopefully we'll get some more viewers and stuff out there, and should be a good time.
Does Casey get one?
No, come on.
I'm going to give him a schmedium.
Oh.
All right, boys.
Good
great night. What a great night.
Absolutely. Yep.
2 weeks again. Is that right? 2 weeks from now?
Yeah.
On Wednesday, though, right? Back to Wednesdays?
Yeah, it should be back on Wednesday. We just had a scheduling conflict with one of our other podcasts, but I think we'll be back at Wednesday at 8, and we'll see who we have as a guest that night. But
yeah,
we haven't got to our rules or anything for the upcoming year, but we'll get there. We got plenty of time.
Maybe we'll start off with them quick next time.
There you go.
Go to it, and then we can get into our other stuff.
Love it. All right, boys.
Sounds good. Good stuff.
See ya.
Good seeing you guys.
Take care.